Fantasy basketball draft season is heating up. I'm Nick Whalen from RotoWire. We're going to talk about some rookies you should be targeting in your drafts this season. Let's get right to the list, and we start with Zach Edey of the Memphis Grizzlies. Edey has looked fantastic in the preseason so far. He's scoring confidently. He's getting fed the ball a ton. He's not just subsisting on lobs and offensive boards. I mean, we're seeing real legitimate post moves out of Zach Edey. He's taken advantage of smaller defenders. I had a draft recently where Zach Edey went in the early 60s. Now, you probably don't have to take him that high in your league, but the ADP is going to rise as we get closer to opening night. He should be the first rookie off the board in most drafts. And it's pretty simple why that will be the case. He's walking into the starting center job in Memphis. And in this rookie class, that's extremely valuable. There are 1, 2, maybe 3 rookies who have a path to a starting job right away. Edey's a guy who can, of course, give you efficient scoring. He's going to give you rebounds. He'll give you blocks. He's also a decent free throw shooter for a player of his size. So he's not going to kill you in the free throw percentage category. Again, Zach Edey, really one of only a couple rookies who appears locked into a starting spot. His stock is on the rise as we move through the preseason. Next on the list, we got to talk about the number 1 overall pick, Zaccharie Risacher down in Atlanta. Everyone was reasonably skeptical of Risacher as the number 1 overall pick. Not typically the type of prospect who goes number 1, but this is a unique, we'll say, 2024 rookie class. I think Risacher's looked really solid so far in the preseason. The three-point shooting looks really good. He's more athletic than he's given credit for. Somebody who can get out there and run in the open floor. Probably a better real-life asset right now for Atlanta than he is a fantasy asset. Shouldn't expect too many assists from Risacher. We'll see if the defensive numbers come around, but Risacher is a guy who's going to be in the rotation. He's going to give you points. He's going to give you threes. He's a decent rebounder as well. Again, an athletic player with good size. I like Zaccharie Risacher as somebody to maybe take a flyer on late in the draft. If he goes undrafted in your league, which is possible, keep an eye on him early in the season on the waiver wire. Before we get to the next rookies on our list, please take a moment to give this video a like if you're enjoying it. Make sure you're subscribed, of course, to the RotoWire YouTube channel. You can find all of our podcasts live on YouTube. They'll be archived there as well. We'll be bringing you a ton of video content, a ton of podcast content on the RotoWire NBA YouTube channel throughout the season. All right, back to the list. Number 3, Alex Sarr of the Washington Wizards. It's all about opportunity for Alex Sarr. He had a disastrous showing in Summer League. It was horrible, but he started to look better in the preseason. He's shooting it well from threes. He's going to give you points. He'll give you rebounds. Should be able to give you a couple assists per game as well. Now, the hope is that he can block around a shot per game as a rookie. That'd be great. We'll see about that. He's playing the 4 next to Jonas Valanciunas. Probably not going to give you a whole lot in terms of steals. Ultimately, Alex Sarr is still somewhat of a mystery box player. But again, it's about the opportunity here. He's expected to start from day 1 for the Washington Wizards. The Wizards could be the worst team in the league. There's no question that the minutes will be there for Sarr. He'll be able to play through any early season struggles, and really that's what matters most for any rookie, and specifically in this rookie class. I like Sarr a little bit more in points leagues where you're not concerned about the efficiency, but he's worth a shot in the later rounds of most drafts. Again, this is a guy, he's on the short list of rookies who could approach 30 minutes this season. Number 4 on our list, maybe my favorite player in the class, Sheppard of the Houston Rockets. Of all the rookies in the 2024 class, Sheppard is the one that I'm most enamored with long-term. However, he joins a very crowded Rockets rotation. It was already crowded last season. Now you're throwing Sheppard in the mix with Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Amen Thompson, Cam Whitmore, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith, Alperen Sengun. Long story short, there's a lot of mouths to feed for the Houston Rockets. With that said, Sheppard will still have a big role off the bench, and he should have a chance to expand on that role as the season goes along. Maybe the Rockets do contract some of that depth at some point. Sheppard put up 12.5 points, 4 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 2.5 steals, and shot a ridiculous 52% from 3 last year as a freshman at Kentucky. If the efficiency and the steals in particular carry over, he'll absolutely be worth rostering as a rookie. And if the minutes do pick up as the season goes along, he's on the short list of rookies who could push for top 100 value. The last rookie on our list, we're going over to Portland. We're going to talk about Donovan Clingan, rookie big man for the Portland Trailblazers. Now, Portland is a tier below, at least one tier below the Rockets in the Western Conference. But as far as bad teams go, there's still a lot of intriguing pieces on this roster. Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, Denny Avdia, Shaedon Sharpe, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton. The cupboard is not completely bare in Portland. This is not a Brooklyn Nets situation by any means. All that is to say, it's unclear how much of a role Clingan will have right away. It feels like that applies to just about every rookie in this class. But at the very least, he should be the primary backup to DeAndre Ayton at the 5 to begin the year. And that could mean anywhere from 14 to 18 minutes per game. Not ideal, but Clingan is a high-volume rebounder. He's a high-volume shot blocker. Both of those are really valuable in fantasy, the blocks in particular. Thus far in the preseason, Clingan is averaging only about 19 minutes per game. but he's still giving you 9 boards and a block and a half per game. So really intrigued by the per minute numbers there. Chances are Clingan's going to be somewhat of a specialist in those two categories, but he's worth keeping an eye on. And if the Blazers were to move DeAndre Ayton at some point, Clingan could step into a much, much larger role. Before we go, I got a couple more rookies I want to highlight here. Just guys to keep an eye on, either in deeper leagues or players to keep an eye on the waiver wire early on. Kel'el Ware in Miami, really intrigued by Ware as a prospect. He'll have a chance to open the year as the backup to Bam Adebayo at center. Like Clingan, the minutes are fairly limited. We're probably looking at 12 to 16 minutes per game, but Ware gives you rebounds, he gives you blocks, and he showed the ability to step back and hit threes in college at Indiana. So that's something to keep an eye on. Stephon Castle with the San Antonio Spurs. Again, rookie guards really tend to struggle in fantasy, especially rookie guards who can't shoot. Castle was under 30% from three at UConn last season, but he's going to see minutes in that Spurs rotation. They didn't really make too many splashy additions. That'll especially be the case early on with Devin Vassell out to begin the year. Should have a pretty well-rounded stat line. He's a very good defender. We hope that translates to some steals at the NBA level. Castle is someone that right now I like a lot more in real life than in fantasy, but worth monitoring at the very least in deeper leagues. And I got to talk about my guy, Bub Carrington. I've drafted Carrington in just about every deep league that I play in. He has not shot the ball well in the preseason. He's a bit of a shaky shooter in general, but he's a stat stuffer at guard. He rebounds really well for his size. He offers assists as well. He's more of an early season stash for me. We'll see how the Wizards rotation shakes out, but Malcolm Brogdon's already injured. This is a very, very shallow roster. He could be one more injury away from starting and seeing big minutes for this team on a nightly basis. And later in the year, I think they may want to get a more extended look at Bub Carrington. Probably not someone you have to draft by any means in most leagues, but Carrington is a name to keep an eye on just based on the opportunity level for that bad Washington team. Those are the rookies I'm keeping an eye on in fantasy basketball this season. Let me know if I missed anybody. Are there any rookies you're targeting, especially in deeper leagues or keeper formats? We want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments. Again, make sure you're subscribed to the RotoWire Fantasy Basketball channel. We'll be bringing you a ton of content. You can find all of our podcasts live and archived on the YouTube channel, and go check out rotowire.com/try. Free access to everything on our site, all of our custom rankings tools, all of our articles, all of our ADP figures, everything you need to have a successful year in fantasy basketball. Again, that's rotowire.com/try.